Christopher, basically what Richard Tice here is doing is saying Lee Anderson did nothing wrong and he's free to join the Reform Party.
That's right, Tom, Emily, you're correct in saying I read this as about a 400-word invite to Lee Anderson, now without a party, to join the Reform Party. Of course, that party had its conference on Saturday. It came across with new measures on cutting income tax. And there's no question that line at the end, which no one even asked Richard Tice about whether he's talking to Lee Anderson, but he just says out of nowhere, I do not and will not give running commentary on any discussions I have with any MPs, but they've got my number. Now, no one asked you about that, Mr. Tice. Why are you telling us?
It's an interesting question, Christopher, because ultimately many people will see what Lee Anderson said as very hurtful to particularly the Muslim community in this country. Even though he did say this of Keir Starmer, he said this of Sadiq Khan, a Muslim mayor, a moderate man, and accused him of being controlled by Islamists. Many people have seen that as something that is rooted in anti-Muslim hate.
Yeah, and that language it says here was clumsy. I mean, Lee Anderson has said something similar. Lee Anderson won't apologise to the Mayor of London. He's been very clear, saying he doesn't feel he's got anything to say sorry about. The language was clumsy on the issue of Islamists, but the point he's trying to make is a political point. Lee Anderson is saying, why is this this policing, this sort of ignoring of this language being projected onto the Parliament, not being called out by the Mayor of London, who is notionally in charge, or at least the Commissioner of Met Police answers to them, and therefore he can actually say something and isn't saying it, and that's the concern.
And the frustration is, for many of us and the public, is that we were beginning to have an important discussion about the threat of Islamist extremism on our streets and to our democracy. We were having a conversation about MPs' safety and the safety of the rest of us, and then it gets bulldozed by Lee Anderson's comments.
That's right, and he, of course, was responding to an article by Suella Braverman in The Telegraph, which said something similar, and that came, of course, after the police weren't seen to be taking a tougher line on that chanting and that projection of remarks on Wednesday. So, yeah, it's built up. And don't forget the pressure on the Speaker hasn't gone away. There's an EDM, a motion of no confidence in him. I am expecting more names to be added to that list as SNP MPs return to Parliament, many of whom apparently couldn't actually work the online system to add your name to this motion of no confidence in the Speaker. And that goes back to that debate from last Wednesday, Tom and Emily, when, of course, the Speaker allowed MPs from the Labour Party to vote on their own policy on Gaza rather than support either the Lib Dem or SNP alternatives. So this is the Lee Anderson issue is really a side issue to the big threat facing the Speaker at the moment.
This is something you don't normally hear from a politician, that we heard from Lee Anderson, saying if you are wrong, apologising is not a sign of weakness but a sign of strength. But when you think you are right, you should never apologise, because to do so would be a sign of weakness. We do a lot of the time see empty apologies from our politicians. For a lot of people in this country probably will welcome the fact that actually he said what he means what he says.
Yeah, if you go on my social media timelines, which of course is not representative of the entire country, but many people are saying that Lee Anderson, if he thinks he's right, don't apologise. What people do hate is this kind of "I'm sorry, you're upset" apology. People hate that kind of language. They want people to say one thing or the other. Lee Anderson is known for straight talking, and he's not doing anything less than that now.
But Chris, why would it be so hard for him to say, I'm sorry, Sadiq, I didn't mean you were controlled by Islamists. I meant that you're a weak man, a weak mayor who is not standing up to Islamists in the way that the Mayor of London should. That would be a very easy statement to make, which would both say, I messed up on the language there, and talking about a Muslim mayor as if he's controlled by Islamists is wrong to say, but you can very easily call the Mayor of London weak.
Yeah, I mean, he says in his statement, didn't he, Tom, my words may have been clumsy, but my words are born out of a sheer frustration at what's happening to our beautiful capital city. And then he made the point, we've got to get Khan out at the elections in May. And that is the context of all these remarks. Sadiq Khan is seeking an unprecedented third term as London mayor in the mayoral elections. He's been run quite close by Susan Hall, who is a Tory candidate. Now, she's quite a weak candidate, but the way that the new system is in London now, it's a first-past-the-post system, so it might be very, very tight. I think both candidates admit that. And these kind of remarks were made before the 2016 London mayoral elections, the first time that Sadiq Khan, by both David Cameron in the House of Commons and Zach Goldsmith in an article in the Daily Mail, made remarks about claims about Sadiq Khan sharing platforms in the past with extremists. And those, at that point, Zach Goldsmith and David Cameron, they didn't lose any party whips. And certainly friends of Mr. Anderson are telling me that there's a double standard here, that it's okay for posh boys to say it, for example, in the past, but when a working class lad who says he's a Tory, is a Tory, says it, he loses the whip. How is that fair?